Ms. Herrera Beutler for 5 minutes.
Thank you. And I just couple quick clarifications. This is first time on this subcommittee. I'm new to the committee, but I'm not new to Congress. I actually serve on the Appropriations Committee. And just for clarity's sake, the budget has not, there has been a recommendation from the administration, and that recommendation from the administration is bound under current law, meaning the law that Congress passed is what they're writing their budget to. The majority here in the House, which would be the Democratic Party, has the authority to put forward a new budget with higher levels with which you can then draw your budget. Am I correct in that?
I believe that how you've described it is accurate, yes.
Yes. So as someone who has yet, I serve on appropriations, and we are waiting for a budget direction from the majority party as to how to allocate our subcommittee assignments, including the Department of Congress and including NIST under that umbrella. We stand ready to make sure that we are appropriately allocating funding, manufacturing, extension partnerships, and all the like. I mean, I think manufacturing is one of the things that's helping drive our economy. We want to see that continue. And I just want, I've heard a lot of comments about the budget, but I just wanted to remind folks that the majority here in the House has the authority to say thank you, but no thank you to the recommendation from this administration or any. Having served under the last administration, they put forward recommendations based on current law that we took some of and we didn't take some of. Yeah. So before everybody gets all panicked about this, I would just remind the majority, they have the authority to increase your budget. And I think many of us on this side of the aisle support making sure that you can continue to do this work because we're seeing the benefit of it in our districts, in our regions. And what I really love is the commitment to the public-private partnership, because I think that's one of the areas where we get the science out of the academia, we get it out of the theoretical and into practice. And there's so many in the private sector, within the innovating sector, I would say, who are just raring to go. And you play such an important role. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to get that clarification on record. And in that vein, my district in Southwest Washington, I often refer to as a silicon forest. We used to have a lot more development in our timber and timber manufacturing, which I'd like to see continue. Yeah. But now we have a growing silicon forest, essentially, where we're manufacturing chips and wafers and technology. And I feel like, you all are responding and meeting some of those needs. I wanted to ask about the Return on Investment Initiative for Unleashing American Innovation. That's a long, that's a long one, which is focused on coordinating and improving technology transfer programs across federal agencies. So what role, again, I'm learning here, does NIST play in promoting the transfer of technology from federally funded R&D to the private sector? And with that,
Thank you so much for that question, for the comments that you've laid out in terms of clarifying the budget process and the expectations. And I'm delighted that the work that NIST has been doing across the country and also in Washington has delivered such benefit. It's also an important part of retooling industry with new technologies and keeping the United States manufacturers at the leading edge. NIST plays a very important role in the U.S. innovation system because we do have oversight for some of the important legislation and policy about federal technology transfers. For example, the Bayh-Dole Act of 1980 truly enabled our nation's universities and many of our federal labs to partner with industry, to hold intellectual property, and to ensure that it resulted in value for the economy through licensing, through new company startups. And so that legislation had an underpinning well before the digital economy. There are many things that are changing about public-private partnerships. We need much faster, much more agile and flexible tools to enable industry, academia, and government entities to engage. You are aware of my background in this field of innovation and tech transfer, and I'm highly passionate to see value, ROI created from our nation's investment in basic science And no matter how much we invest, that we'll get more value from that by streamlining regulation, by removing known barriers or those uncertainties for the private sector investment, and ultimately to enable so much more value to come for our economy and for our people from this investment. We've seen China and other nations have dramatically higher trajectories later of their intellectual property filings, as well as their work in standardization. These are areas that we're very focused upon in the United States, and so we need the federal labs actually to have more access to intellectual property protections, not only in this country, but around the world, to enable U.S. industry to compete globally.